Hello, welcome to our kitchen math unit. This one's going to be pretty short, but we are going to cover all the things that you'll need to know in pretty much any home cooking situation. So after this, you should be all set. You're going to need a pencil and paper for notes, and then you can use a calculator. You shouldn't really need one since the math we're doing is pretty basic. So the meat of this model is going to be mostly this video, and then there are also some other presentations, and there's a partner activity, and there's a two-part assessment. So first we're going to talk about some different kinds of measurements. We're going to learn how to convert between them, and also how to increase or decrease recipe yields using that knowledge. I hope you're ready for a fun hour or so of learning, and let's go. The first family of measurements we're going to talk about are liquid measurements. These are usually your glass containers with the spout, and they have like the lines that you fill up to on the sides that either have cups or liters. Use them for liquid. And there's an article that you'll read later and kind of discuss with your classmates about why you want to use a liquid measuring cup for your liquid ingredients instead of just a regular dry one, because there is a difference. So our first and biggest one is gallon, which you're not really going to use for cooking, but it's good to know. A gallon is equal to 4 quarts. These are going to overlap, but that's okay. A quart has 2 pints in it. I'm not going to do it for all 4 because you get the point. And then each pint has 2 cups. So we can say that 1 gallon, I'm going to use the abbreviation, equals 4 quarts. 1 quart equals 2 pints. And then 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. Let's do a few quick example problems so we know that you've got this. First, 2 quarts. You can count up to how many cups are there. There's 4 cups in each quart. So 4, 8. 3 pints is going to be 1, 2, 3. And we know that each pint has 2 cups. So 2, 4, 6 if we had another one in there. This last one I'm going to let you do on your own. So your answer should be 4. 2 quarts, there's 2 pints in each quart. When you're done with this video, or if you want to just pause and go practice the liquid measurements, there is a Google Slides posted in the classroom where there are like shapes for each type of measurement, and you can drag them around and put them on top of each other to kind of see how they compare, and there's some practice problems on there for you to do. It's just some extra practice so you know you've got it and you're ready for the quiz at the end. The next section of measuring is measuring cups. These are the ones that you've probably seen most often. They're used for dry ingredients or sometimes sticky ingredients like honey or peanut butter. These are the ones that start getting into the fractions. So again, we have our cups, and I'm going to abbreviate that as C. We have half cup, third cup, and a quarter cup. And sometimes you'll see an eighth of a cup, but those aren't quite as common, so we're gonna keep it from cup to fourth for now. Let's do some example problems. So if I had 3 half cups. That's not to be confused with 3.5 cups, but if I had a half cup measurement and I scooped this 3 times. So that's what the boxes mean. So if I had 3 half cups, would be how many cups? If you want, you can do this with multiplication. You can do 3 times 1/2. So we'll do 3 over 1. Anything over 1 is itself, times 1/2. Multiply across 3 over 2, which simplifies to 1 and 1/2. So kind of the same thing on this next one, 2 1/3 cups. So 2 times 1/3, 2/3. For this next one, if I want to measure out 2 cups, but I'm going to use a 1/4 cup measurement, how many 1/4 cups do I need? And you should have gotten 8. Alright, our last one is measuring spoons. These can be used for dry or liquid, since liquid measuring cups don't get that small. Your biggest one is going to be your tablespoon, which I'm going to abbreviate TBSB. Notice the capital T, and then for teaspoon, it's going to be a lowercase t, be TSP. So pay attention to that. Sometimes recipes will use just a T, and it'll look like that. So make sure you know this difference. After tablespoon, it's kind of like your measuring cups. It goes 1/2 tablespoon. There's not really 1/3 of a tablespoon, 1/4, and there is sometimes 1/8, which also you might see as a pinch. Another really important thing you should know is 4 tablespoons is equal to a 1/4 cup. You can remember that by 4, 4. Going down, 1 tablespoon is equal to 3 teaspoons. If you need to take a quick break, now is the time to do that. Or if you're ready to move on, we are now going to talk about yield and changing recipe yield. So yield is basically how much stuff the recipe is going to make. You'll usually see it in cookie recipes. It'll say it makes 3 dozen cookies or something like that. And say you want to change how many cookies you want to make. For example, let's say we have a recipe that makes 24 cookies, and we're having a bigger party than that, and we want, let's say, about 48 cookies. So we can use DO. That stands for desired yield over original. So we want 48, but originally we have 24. I'm going to simplify this, so I know that 48 over 24 is equal to 2. So that means we're going to have to multiply the amount of each ingredient by 2 to get 48 cookies instead of 24. So we're going to pretend that these are our cookie ingredients. So this is the original amount of everything we need to make 24. And we want to multiply by 2. I'll put that there, times 2, to make 48. So let's start. 1 1/4 cup of flour, 1 cup times 2 is 2 cups. 1/4 cup times 2 is 2/4 or 1/2. 2/3 times 2, we're going to multiply that 2 on the top to get 6/3. Hold up. Why did Miss Scheidler think that 2 times 2 was 6? I don't know either. It should be 4/3, which would reduce down to 1 1/3 cups of sugar. We can divide the top and the bottom by 3 to get 2 cups of sugar. 6 tablespoons of butter times 2 is going to become 12. There are 8 tablespoons of butter in a normal stick, so that's going to be 1 stick plus 4 tablespoons you have left, so you'll have 1.5 sticks. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda times 2, you get 2/2, which is 1 teaspoon. And lastly, 1/8 teaspoon of salt times 2 makes 2/8, or if you reduce that, is equal to 1/4. And always put your units on it. Now let's say you want to make a recipe smaller. I'm not going to make you do anything more complicated than having a recipe for making it smaller. So our desired yield is going to be 12, and if you want to do the desired over original to check yourself, we want 12. We originally had 24. 12 over 24 we know is 1/2, so we're multiplying all our ingredients times 1/2. When we have a recipe, we can think of it in 2 different ways. We can think about dividing by 2, or we can think about multiplying by 1/2, because that's the same thing, right? Since 1 1/4 cups kind of has 2 parts, the 1 cup and the 1/4 cup, I'm gonna do the math separately at first and then put them together at the end. I'm gonna use division to know that 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. And then for the 1/4, I'm gonna multiply by 1/2, since it's the same thing as dividing by 2. Multiply across to get 1/8. And then I'm gonna add these together. Now, if I went through the whole process of making a common denominator and adding them up, I would get 5/8. But if I ask you to scoop 5/8 cup of flour, you're not gonna scoop it like that. So we're gonna keep it at 1/2, plus we know that 1/8 of a cup is 2 tablespoons. So 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons. 2/3 is a little more straightforward. We can multiply by 1/2, and we end up with 2/6, which is also equal to 1/3. 6 tablespoons of butter is super easy. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 1/2 teaspoon divided by 2 or multiplied by 1/2. Let's multiply it. Oh, it's a little scrunched, but we get 1/4. Put that unit on there. Since 1/8 of a teaspoon is really small and it's the same thing as a pinch, like I mentioned earlier, we can just say 1/2 a pinch, and guesstimating it will be good enough since it's such a small amount. I hope this video went well for you. I hope you took good notes and answered the Edpuzzle questions as best you could. This is most of the content that you're gonna need for this module. There's just a couple other videos and articles that are interesting and or helpful. Have fun. Let me know if you have any questions, and happy learning.